Hi guys, it's Rob from Royal Balls. I've got an update on the Terrarium girl for you guys today, but it's so much more than that. As ever with all of these experiments that I do, I'm learning so much more along the way. So this girl here had a significant behaviour change. About a month and a half ago, she went underground. And she stayed underground for a whole month and a half. She had a shed down there, and I'll show you in this video. We had to clean her out, but I also took the opportunity to free roam her. And you will see that despite the fact that she's never been handled, that she free roams confidently and allows me to pick her up. Alright guys, it's been quite a few weeks since I've done an update on the Terrarium girl, and there's been an important change over the last month. And this is also related to observations I've made about my snakes free roaming. Right now, it's the females that want to come out of their tubs and free roam, and they are very preoccupied with scents in the room, and they find the waste paper bin with all the snake poo in it is a magnet. They are fascinated by it. This girl was regular as clockwork for the early part of the year. She lived in the surface hide here up at the top, and she set up an ambush, moving barely a few inches in order to be fed and then retreating back into the surface hide. And she's done that for months. All of a sudden she disappeared. She went underground, and for the last month she has not been on the surface at all. She has remained underground. When she's fed, she comes to the entrance of the tunnel and sets up an ambush at the entrance to the tunnel, not in the surface hide. Now it's time to clean her out, and she's in the tub here at the bottom, and she's actually shed down there. She's gone through a full shed cycle, and I'm assuming that she's done a poo as well, so we need to clean her out. But the surface terrarium is completely clean and untouched. She has not been on the surface for the last month. So let's get on with the cleaning. I have actually changed into my Royal Balls t-shirt from my normal sports singlet. It is 30.5 degrees centigrade in the room and 82% humidity. So I am sweating buckets. Alright guys, so I'm just going to take a photograph of the paper on in the terrarium here so that you can see how clean the paper is. There's a little bit of pee here in the surface hide from however old that is, but she hasn't been on the surface for a month, and I want to just show you that. So let me just take a picture of how clean that surface really is, and I'll just stick that up in the corner of the video so you can see that. This newspaper underneath the white paper is in fact so clean that I can actually use this again. And she's down here . She's down here in the underground tub, so I just take a picture and put that in the corner of the video for you guys as well. Okay, so out she comes, and yes, the underground tub is actually filthy. It's got a pee in there, so she's sitting actually on top of the hide, and we'll get a good look at her in a moment. So here she is in a tub, and I'm using the hand phone now so I don't have to mess around. You can see that she's had a shed, and she's also taken a pee and a poo, so she does need cleaning out. And there she is sitting on top of the hide in the underground tub. So what I'm going to do is to just lift her out so that I can clean the tub. But I also want to try with this girl. Obviously in the terrarium she's never handled, so I want to give her an opportunity to free roam. So let's just gently pull her out. And I'll put her down here over on the IKEA paper rack. Okay, so she's out on the IKEA paper rack while I get on and refresh her tub, and we'll just see what she does. Okay, so she immediately starts to roam and explore. And of course, as with all my other snakes, despite the fact that she's not handled, you can easily handle her while she's preoccupied. I don't know why that is. The snake isn't handled, but doesn't appear to mind it. It must be so preoccupied that it doesn't even realise. So here she is now, starting to move around and scent, which all the other snakes do. And it's quite remarkable. Even snakes that have been inside their tub for years will be doing this inside 5 minutes. And I don't know why that should be. The narrative is that they are shy and fearful, and that is not my experience with my snakes at all. Okay, so I'm leaving this footage in exactly as it is because it is the terrarium girl, and I know we're interested in her development. So the free roaming stuff, just compare her behaviour to any other snake that's free roamed. And remember, this is the terrarium snake that was originally in a tub for a whole year before I moved her into the terrarium. Okay, so she's discovered the IKEA paper rack. So I'm going to come back to the behavioural aspects a little bit later in the video, and I'm going to use her as my example of terrarium versus tub snakes, of which there is actually a dedicated paper in the literature. And the thing that amazes me about all these snakes is, despite the fact that they are not regularly handled, she's having a drink in the water bowl now. Despite being not regularly handled, they have no fear of free roaming. They don't flinch. I can move around. If I move around here, she freezes for a second but does not flinch or and then just carries right on with her free roaming. So I'm not 100% certain on what's going on here, guys, but this is very repeatable with all my snakes. Even snakes that have been in tubs for years and have never been handled will come out and do this within 5 minutes. And they will allow you to pick them up without flinching. You can handle these guys as if they've been handled all their lives. And I don't know why. There's something else going on here. This is a seasonal thing. The females seem to be doing it at this time of the year, whereas earlier in the season it was the males that liked to come out. Definitely a shift there in females wanting to do this activity. I suspect that one of the biggest drivers for the behaviour of our snakes has nothing to do with them being kept in tubs or terrariums, and has nothing to do with the frequency of handling. It has everything to do with seasonal hormonal changes which are controlling the behaviour of our snakes. It has nothing to do with us, which, for such a secretive creature as a snake, would hardly come as a surprise. Their behaviour is entirely controlled by hormones. And look at this girl doing exactly what every other snake does. Spending time in exactly the same places as the other snakes. And it's very, very systematic. It's not random. Very systematically exploring the scents that are on this IKEA rack. And lately, of this water bowl that I've kept out here. So this is the terrarium snake. She's been in the terrarium for months, hasn't been handled whatsoever, and over the last month has had a significant behaviour change, and she's moved underground. And now you can see how she's performing during free roaming. This is absolutely awesome, guys. It's incredible. Free roaming and the terrarium experiment have allowed me to see behavioural changes that I may not have otherwise noticed in my snakes, and it's very easy to misinterpret what you're seeing. Oh, this is because I've been handling the snake. Oh, this is because I've been allowing it to free roam. No, not necessarily. There are way more factors involved here. My snake is shy and fearful because it's been kept in a tub all its life. No. This snake will be shy and fearful for some of the year, and will be doing this for the rest of the year. It depends entirely on where it is in its hormonal cycle, which are both seasonal and related to breeding. I am convinced that our snakes are being controlled by something entirely different to the narrative that you'll hear about what sort of enclosures they're kept in, what sort of enrichment they have, and how many times a week they get handled. I think none of that has anything to do with this behaviour. Let me pick up this shy and fearful girl that has never been handled before. Very difficult to film because she is quite close to me here, so. But there you go, guys. That's a snake that's never been handled in its entire life. Not exactly behaving how you would expect. Certainly not how I would have expected it to behave. So let me finish cleaning while she is free roaming. I expect that if I offer her the bin, she will accept that offer and go in the bin, because the scents in the bin seem to be very interesting. She is actually exploring every little nook and cranny on the table. Fortunately, the jug was empty. Let me just try something here. let me pick some dirty bedding from the bin, and I'm just going to put that on the table. Some dirty bedding from the bin. Sorry guys, I was distracted for a moment there, but just a couple of seconds later, this is her response to the dirty bedding. And no prizes for guessing where her attention is now focused. Now again guys, I repeat, I can edit the videos, but I cannot make my snakes do this. They do this by themselves. Look at this girl. I cannot make them do this. So here we go. As I said, she does not appear to be ready to go back in. She is still intent on the snake rack and the dirty bedding. She hasn't been down into the bin, but she has noticed the scent from the bin, but totally preoccupied with what's going on here. Just show you the refreshed terrarium here, so that's good to go. She's ready to go back in there, and I'm guessing that when she does go back in there, she will explore for maybe an hour or so, just checking it out, because there's less scent, although I did use the old newspaper underneath, so we'll see. But I'm guessing she'll go back underground. This appears to have been a seasonal change, and if that is true, she will go back underground and not back into the surface hide. So there we go, enjoying some free roaming. Let me just move some bottles so that you can see her a little more clearly. And you will notice that while she is a little cautious, there's no flinching and running away and hiding her head. So I can actually move my hand towards her and look at her response. She doesn't flinch away, she actually starts to scent my hand, because I have been cleaning out other snakes and I do have scent on my hand from other snakes. So she's been at this for some considerable length of time now, guys, as is normal for my snakes when they get out. They do spend quite a bit of time and they don't get bored very easily. But she isn't displaying much signs of nervousness and is not flinching as I move around. I've done a little bit of extra cleaning while she's been out doing this. So let's let her continue. Here she is, sticking her head over the top of that bottle there. Now remember, this girl adapted to a terrarium from out of a tub completely seamlessly. There were no issues whatsoever with this girl. And it is actually quite awesome to see her doing this after several months in a terrarium. doing what all my snakes seem to do. And yes, fascinated by handphones and cameras, as all my snakes seem to be. But she's right back to the dirty bedding. And the bin. She is going to go down to the bin. Now, this girl has never been handled. And yet, here I am. Doing something that you would think I shouldn't be able to do. Oh boy, now I've really given her something to do. So this dirty bedding here I can put back in the bin where it should be. And again guys, my females over the last couple of months have all been doing this, digging around in the bin. So that's why I put her in there. And she didn't seem to object too much. I don't know whether you can see her head there guys, just sticking out of the rubbish. She's surfaced. She has completely buried herself in the rubbish bin, and back she goes. Alright, so here she is guys. She buried herself right to the bottom of the bin there. Right to the very bottom, and I had to dig her out. So here she is now, about to go back into her terrarium. Alright guys, so here she is. We're gonna put her back into the terrarium after that bit of free roaming. She is actually getting quite large, but is still managing the underground tunnels without any difficulty at all. So let's get her back in the terrarium. Here you go. No, in, not out, in. There, go on. So this will be quite normal behaviour for the snake after she goes back into the terrarium. She will have a quick explore around. For about an hour. There she is. And then I fully expect that she'll go back underground.
Okay, so let's just come back to this animal appropriate housing study that compares ball pythons in tubs to those in terrariums. Having performed my own experiment now over the course, I guess the best part of a year, with 3 different snakes, these are the behaviors or the criteria that they used to measure how the snakes were actually doing inside the various enclosures. And there is so much wrong with this paper right from the outset. I don't even know where to begin in critiquing it. Perhaps that's the subject for another video. But I want you to notice the amount of time that snakes spend resting inside or outside the hide. In the case of rack animals, it's 80% of the time, and even in a terrarium, it is 60% of the time. So a significant proportion of time is spent doing absolutely nothing. Now, my terrarium animals have spent the vast majority of their time in the terrarium doing absolutely nothing, and I would suggest that all 3 of my animals have a much higher percentage of hiding inside the hide than these animals in this study demonstrate. Most of the other behaviors that they quote in the study are woefully inadequate to describe how a ball python is doing in terms of equivalent natural behaviors. And that's another problem that I have with this study. There is no comparison to what a snake would actually be doing in the wild, because we simply do not have that data. But what we do have is data on what snakes do in both tub and terrariums when they're allowed to free roam. Wouldn't that be an interesting data comparison to judge whether our snakes are actually suffering any detrimental effects or behavior inhibition from the accommodation that they are currently kept in? It's my experience with my snakes that all of them behave within 5 minutes flat very naturally during free roaming, and if you look down the list of criteria, I think a lot of those numbers would be very, very different if we actually did that comparison. Okay, so if you do get a chance to read this paper yourselves and put it into the context of the videos that I've been showing, pay particular attention to the preconditions and how the experiment was set up in the first place. The vast majority of the animals in this study were males, and a lot of them were juvenile males, which is a biased sample. We've already determined that males and females behave quite differently. They were actually rescue animals, and they had a lot of difficulty getting many of these animals to start eating after they were rescued. And they were placed in tubs for the first 8 weeks of the study, during which time most of the snakes actually did start to eat. And then they put them into terrariums and studied the behavior of the recovered snakes in terrariums. And we have already determined that stress in our snakes is a huge inhibitor of natural behaviors. I just wonder if this study had been done the other way around and the rescued snakes had been put straight into terrariums to try to get them eating, what the results of this study would have been in that circumstance.
Feeding day. She's out and ready. Okay, so here's the terrarium girl. She is back in the surface hide, and this is about 30 seconds after I brought rats into the room. This girl is switched on immediately. It takes no time at all for them to detect the scent of prey in the room. And she is poised and ready. Interesting, she's periscoping. catching the scent on the breeze, although in the terrarium that's all blanked off on all sides. I'm sure there's not much breeze, but that's what she's doing. This girl is something else. So she will get fed tonight. I'll take a quick video for you guys so that you can see that. And no hesitation. This girl is growing fast.
So I've had the motion sensitive camera on her for a week, and I was hoping to bring you guys some exciting footage of what she gets up to at night. Absolutely nothing. She has not triggered the motion sensor once. So here she is the night that I set up the motion sensor, and you can see her at the bottom of the cage there with her face pressed against the glass in ambush position. And that is something that she does on a routine basis. She's not resting, she's not sleeping, she is actually in ambush position hoping to be fed. Which takes me to those criteria used in the experiment. Wouldn't this sort of behavior seem to be what a normal, well-adjusted snake should do? Nowhere in those criteria is this sort of behavior measured. And it would seem to me to be an important indicator of a non-stressed snake. Not only that, but the authors suggest significant activity in a terrarium, which none of the 3 snakes that I have had in this terrarium have displayed. And they also talk about pushing and probing being unique to tubs, and we know that that isn't true. Our male snakes, when they get in there and get unsettled by other nearby males, certainly do push and probe. They try to find an escape route to get out of the terrarium and find somewhere else to be. So here she is, back in her usual place in the surface hide, and she stays there all day long.
Now, where I'm going to add a little bit in terms of what I've learnt here is there's a little bit more on our free roaming females. At this time of year, females are the ones that want to come out of the tubs. It's quite a noticeable change. And I have a short clip at the end where I hope I can convince you that our snakes are displaying social cognition. They are aware of and respond to other snakes in the area. Whilst they're not social animals, they do not interact with each other, this kind of free roaming and communication by scent is essential for them to maintain proper social distancing and, I believe, a fairly structured hierarchy within the area in which they live, whether that be in the snake room or whether that be in the wild. I had a female that I presented an opportunity to smell other tubs which were occupied, and this female wanted to go into the tubs occupied by all the other females, but when I presented her with tubs from 2 males, she immediately avoided those 2 tubs. So I'm suggesting here that there's a little more going on with our snakes than we give them credit for. They actually are socially cognizant. Right guys, I don't know where this is going to lead, but I have this big female around my neck right now, and I'm actually letting her smell the individual tubs of other snakes. And this one, she really wants to go in. This is a female, She really wants to go in this tub. This is another female, and she wants to go in. So this is a male's tub, and she does not want to go in there. Wow. This is another female, and in she goes. And this is a male's tub that's just shed. And she does not want to go in there. Two big breeder females don't seem to mind each other. Come back. Not over there. Come on, back over here. They're actually in contact there, touching each other. So each one seems to be going about scenting without really bothering too much about each other, and that. This is the same girl the other day that I offered the tubs to, and she wanted to go in the other females' tubs but didn't want to go in with the males, and this behaviour seems to confirm that they don't mind other females. I suspect that communal nesting sites is actually a thing in ball pythons, and at this time of year the females will tolerate each other in the same burrow because they're communal nesting. Those big 16 egg clutches that we see in the wild, no way are they all from one snake. That's a clutch from multiple snakes. And this behaviour here with two breeder females together seems to confirm that. There is tolerance here. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to share, like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.